It is a hot summer day in Dallas, and the sun is baking us as we stand in the parking lot of a shopping mall. To your right stands an old silver Toyota with sun-faded paint on its fender from the famous Texas heat and a slight dent on it. Out steps a man in his 50s wearing a plain gray t-shirt whose color has faded from washing over and over again, and ordinary cargo shorts. In his hand, he holds an old thermos filled with coffee he prepared at home. The wallet he pulls from his pocket is literally falling apart, consisting of nothing more than a leather card holder wrapped with a rubber band. On the left side, a brand new, squeaky clean, pitch black Range Rover parks slowly. Out steps a man in his 30s wearing shiny Gucci loafers on his feet, a thick cased Swiss watch on his wrist, and a designer polo shirt screaming its logo. Twirling his keychain on his finger, he walks toward the cafe. Now, you've listened up to this point. You've seen the men, so I am going to ask you a very simple question. Which of these two is the millionaire? If it's the first thing that came to your mind, wait and think a bit more, because your brain, through the reflex social media has taught you for years, instantly points to the man with the Range Rover. But there is a huge trick here. One of these two has a net worth of over $3.5 million, while the other owes the banks a full $42,000 in debt and can't sleep at night trying to pay his monthly car installment. Almost never is the person you would bet on that guy with the luxury car you thought he was. In a moment, I will explain to you in full detail how real millionaires hide in plain sight, and how to see that invisible wealth even when they rub in our faces that they are broke. The real bombshell will explode when we get to the signs anyway. The secret millionaires next door. Currently, about 24 million millionaires live in the US. That means an average of 9% of the adult population. So while waiting in line at the grocery store, stopping at a red light, or sitting side by side at your child's school, your surroundings are actually full of them, but you can't notice them, because the image of the rich in our minds is limited to celebrities on social media. Yet, a real millionaire is that ordinary next-door neighbor you borrowed a lawnmower from. Income is not wealth. There is a single rule that will change your entire financial life. High income is not wealth. Income is the money coming into the house. Wealth is the portion of that money that starts working in the background. If you earn $20,000 a month and spend $21,000, you are not rich at all. You are just a poor person who spends a lot of money. The truly rich play a game not to show money off, but to hold onto it in their hands. Here are the secret traits of those people who are actually millionaires, even if they look broke. There are items in between that when you hear them, you will start suspecting your neighbor. By the way, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video, my friend. Let's jump straight into the items. They focus on appreciating assets, not depreciating ones. The truly rich think about the value of what they buy 5 years from now, not showing it off to people. They avoid brand new cars like the plague because a new vehicle loses 11% of its value the first minute it leaves the dealership. This is a tremendous loss for them. For example, my next-door neighbor, electrician Bob, has a net worth of $2.8 million, but every day he goes to work in a 2014 pickup truck full of scratches on its bed. Bob invested the money he would have spent on a new car into stock market funds years ago. The fake rich guy across from him takes out a loan and buys a brand new Porsche. The show-off goes into debt while Bob continues to add money to his money. Their homes are a very small portion of their net worth. The houses quiet rich people live in are so simple and small that they look laughable next to their bank accounts. They never push their maximum credit limits. Sarah, a software engineer with a net worth of $4 million, still lives in that ordinary house she bought 15 years ago. Her neighbors think she is middle class. Sarah doesn't care at all. Since her mortgage is finished, she allocates thousands of dollars every month into stocks. The fake rich person uses the bank's limit to the last penny to buy a giant mansion. Due to high HOA fees, they are merely a prisoner inside that stylish home. They max out their tax-advantaged retirement accounts. The biggest secret of wealth is legally tax-sheltered money. Instead of being stock market geniuses, they utilize the advantages offered by the system to the fullest. There are hundreds of thousands of people who have crossed the $1 million threshold in their retirement accounts. Do you know what their common trait is? They transfer the money deducted from their salaries into these funds every month until the limit is full. Postal worker Marcus never had a great salary, but he deposited money into these funds every month without fail. Today, while his coworkers complain about a lack of money, Marcus has $1.2 million growing by itself in the background. They choose invisible quality instead of brand logos. Clothes carrying huge logos on them, are not a sign of wealth, but of insecurity. Frankly speaking, their trend has really passed in my opinion too. The truly rich do not turn themselves into walking billboards. Luxury brands make most of their revenue by selling logoed products to the crowd that actually cannot afford to buy those items but wants to look rich. They are actually selling fake status, not the product. Dave, whose company generates $5 million a year in turnover, wears a $15 pair of jeans bought from a wholesale store on weekends. The fake rich person buys an $800 t-shirt by making credit card installments. While one keeps $500,000 cash in the bank, the other is in a negative balance. They never use credit cards to go into debt. The truly rich use credit cards constantly, but every time they avoid paying interest to banks. Retired nurse Linda has a $2 million portfolio and pays for everything with premium credit cards. Her goal is to earn free flight miles. But here is the most critical point. Throughout her life, she has always paid her statement in full. The fake rich person, upon returning from vacation, pays only the minimum amount of a giant statement, and interest immediately pops up in front of them. The banks recover the money for the free tickets Linda earned from this exact fake rich person. If you are experiencing an epiphany in your mind right now and realizing that true wealth is not that loud, pause the video and subscribe to the channel because the real secrets begin in the second half of the list. Especially, there is a hobby item I will talk about shortly, and you will understand why those with money deal with those things. Their social circle is built on values, not status. Secret rich people know what a good trap spending money to impress others is. In fact, let me give you an even weirder ratio. Research shows that just because our neighbor bought a new car, we increase our own spending by 15%, meaning financial ruin is contagious. Jim and Greg, two old friends with millions in the bank, instead of sitting at luxury restaurants on Saturday nights, sit on camping chairs in the garage and chat while drinking beers they bought from the market. The fake rich person joins a luxury club just to be seen with people and works even at night just to pay for the expensive wine they drink. Their hobbies produce high value, not expensive equipment. The rich do not waste their time. They produce experiences. Toys like boats, ATVs, or jet skis are where the middle class loses the most money. Successful dentist Elena's favorite activity is tending to the organic vegetable garden in her backyard and making sourdough bread. This is like therapy for her, and its monthly cost does not exceed $50, but the peace given by touching the soil is priceless. The fake rich person drowns in loans again for show and parks their speedboat at their door. That boat is merely a rusting status symbol for 360 days a year. They rely on an emergency fund. Instead of showing off for the truly rich, the best pillow in the world is 6 months of emergency cash in the bank. The majority of people cannot pay a sudden $1,000 expense in cash because they have no preparation. Logistics manager Tom's indicator of wealth is not the car in his garage, but that 6-month cash fund in his account. If the company went bankrupt or he were fired tomorrow, there wouldn't be the slightest change in his life. True power is being able to say no to life. The fake rich person doesn't even have $500 in the bank, but wears a $12,000 Rolex on his wrist. He lives in a glass tower that will collapse with a single slap from life. They use debt as leverage, not for consumption. The fake rich use debt again for consumption, while the quiet rich use it to make more money. School principal Maria buys everything in cash, but last year she took out a loan and bought a duplex. The money coming from her tenant pays her monthly installment and provides extra income for Maria. In other words, she grows her own wealth with the bank's money. The fake rich person takes out a high-interest consumer loan to have a showy wedding in the Caribbean and then suffers the trouble of that vacation for the next 5 years. They never talk about their money. The biggest rule of quiet wealth is actually silence. Secret rich people deliberately look ordinary to ward off debt pressure coming from their friends and social circle. Arthur, who owns 3 laundromats and literally prints money every month, constantly complains at the neighborhood coffee house about how expensive eggs have become. His secret is hiding his money behind an invisible shield. The fake rich person shares the private jet he rented everywhere and tries to sell courses on its stairs, saying, "You can be a millionaire too." Noise is the sound of poverty, while silence is the sound of wealth. Return to the parking lot. Now let's return to that sunny parking lot in Dallas. That 2012 model silver Toyota and the sparkling Range Rover. At the beginning of the story, you made a guess looking only at the cars, But now you can see the investments lying in the thermos in the hand of that man in the faded t-shirt and the deep freedom inside that rubber-banded wallet, can't you? You can see the chains of credit interest and status anxiety tightening a bit more around the Range Rover owner's neck every month. Now you can read the matrix. You know that wealth is measured not by the money coming out of the wallet, but by the money kept in the wallet and converted into investments. The real abyss in the background. The real issue here is not the cars or the t-shirts. The real issue is that massive gap the education system never taught us: financial literacy. We were taught how to earn money, but never how to manage it. That is why millions of smart people transfer the money they earn to mega corporations just to look rich to others. The real abyss is not the amount of money in our pockets, but the version of the financial software in our minds. Remember, the best car is not the one you own, but the one you don't owe the bank for. Stay free, stay quiet, and stay rich. See you in the next video, my friends. Take care of yourselves.